In this example, I want to demonstrate how to create an external JavaScript file as well as have an embedded JavaScript file. Now you can also have inline JavaScript just like you can with inline cascading style sheets. But that's going to be used more when we're having event listeners or when we want more interaction with forms and images, etc. So we'll be getting to that soon. So right now, to create an embedded JavaScript file, it's pretty simple. You just have that opening and closing script tag. So on line 6 here, we have a script, and on line 8, we have the closing script. Now those are both HTML tags, so they come with attributes and attribute values. So for example, you could have type equals text JavaScript. In HTML5, you don't actually need to have those attributes anymore. It's assumed that you'll be using JavaScript. And that's probably pretty safe for the next few years, but I wouldn't be surprised if a new language starts taking over. On line 7, we have window.alert embedded script, so it would simply display that as our output. You can do output, of course, by using the console.log if you want. A lot of people prefer to use window.alert for their output. Usually you'll use this for testing purposes or in early stages while we're learning, of course. Then we can use this just so we know we're getting an output and that things are working. The other thing to mention here is that you don't have to have the window object mentioned. It'll actually work by just having our alert method. And if you were to test that, then that would work for you. I'll go ahead and give it a try in Safari, and we'll save this up. And then in Safari here, it comes on over and gives us the alert window here of embedded script. Close that out. But the more technically correct way is to use the window object. The window object just refers to that window that you see when you open up Internet Explorer, or in this case Safari, and it's just the browser window that you're seeing, and that's what it refers to. And then this just says that object has multiple methods. One of those is an alert, so we can have user output. Okay, so this is how we create that embedded, pretty self-explanatory. The other thing to mention here is that you can have multiple opening and closing script tags. See, so I have another one on line 9 and line 11. For something like this, you wouldn't want to do this. It'd be redundant. So you would probably have multiple JavaScript statements within an opening and closing. And I mention this only because I've seen some people have opening and closing script tags for just about every JavaScript statement while they're learning. So, you can, I want to say obviously, you can have multiple statements within one opening and closing script tag. Okay. And there we are. Okay, I'm not going to test that, but if you were, you would get 2 alerts. Okay, the other thing to mention is that your script can go inside the head section, or I'm going to copy and paste it here. It can go inside the body section. Okay, so I'll highlight that right here so we just know what I'm talking about clearly. Lots of times people will want to load their scripts within the body. This is something which has come about really probably in the last maybe 10 years, probably less actually, because people are wanting to load their document object model content, such as images, text, and their div areas. And then once it's loaded into the document object model, then they will modify it by using the JavaScript. Okay. If you have it in the head section, then the JavaScript runs before the document object model is completed. Okay, so let's link to an external JavaScript file. It's just going to be the opening script. And then there's a attribute of source. You reference the name of that file. I have a previously created file called myscript.js. I close that out. Now, where some people get confused when they're first learning is you do need to have an opening and closing script tag, even though there's not anything in here. You aren't going to put anything between an opening and closing script tag when you're referencing an external JavaScript file. Typically, what most people do is they'll come on down. If they do want to have some embedded script, then they'll actually create another script file here, and they would have that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do a window.alert one last time here just to show this is in embedded style script, pardon me. And in my external script, I keep wanting to say style, my external script, show this to you. Note there's no opening closing script tag in an external JavaScript file. That's because you're actually within JavaScript, so you don't want to have any HTML here. So we just dive right in. We start having our program in here. And here we have window.alert hello world, and it's showing that this is going to be our external document and that it's working. When you're first learning this, you probably want to do a few tests like this, just until you get the hang of it. Make sure you got that down. Okay, I'll go ahead and save this up. And now we should have our external load, and then we should have our embedded load. And they will operate at the time that they're loaded. So I'll go ahead and test it in Firefox, and I'll bring this over, and we have our external load like I'd thought, and then our embedded load. One last thing to mention is that the order of loading just depends on where you place the script. So if I copy that and I now place it above the external, then the embedded will load first and operate, and then the external will load. So you could give that a test.